Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Bethel Evangelical Free Church, Hanley. I'm Pastor Gervais Charmley. This is another video in a series on Staffordshire churches, so churches a bit closer to home than some of the more recent ones. This is the Church of St John the Baptist, Stowe-by-Chartley. As you can see from behind me, this is a Norman church. This is middle of the 12th century. Yes, that's been restored a bit, but basically, this is a Norman building. It's been associated historically with Chartley Castle, which is now in ruins. You can see it as you go by from the main road. It's not open to the public, although the owner doesn't live there. Nevertheless, it is the owner's castle, and you do what you like with your castle, really. So we'll have a look around this church. We'll see something of its history. There's a very interesting tomb in the chancel, normal place to put these things. It's been extended over the years, it's been changed as all kinds of things have happened. So let's have a look around and see what we can see. And so as usual, we begin at the west end. We have this quite tall structure. You can just see up there the 15th century roof line just above the Royal Arms, but it's then been Royal Arms are dated 1780 something, so we do have a date there. But the roof line's been altered back to a steeper pitch, but not as steep as it would originally have been in the 19th century. We've got, so there's a south door, although we come in through the west door normally. Two big tall windows. Originally you'd have had a nave and then a little chancel, smaller than the current one. And of course the windows would have been your little Norman slit windows with their little round heads. At some point a nave has been added. These columns are 19th century, so they don't give any kind of diagnostic indication, although if the octagonal ones are anything like what was originally there, you're looking probably about the 14th century for that. Although even late, maybe even later, we have the war memorial, and we have, although of course now much faded and discoloured, the white ensign, the naval ensign, and then you've got the Union flag for the army. And so we have Captain Thomas Ansell, Cameronian Scottish Rifles, Sergeant Major Richard Bailey. So you've got a captain, junior officer, and then mostly, well, then you've got Major William Latouche Congreves, so another officer. As usual, they're mostly privates, but there's a couple of field officers, and just the one looks like, two NCOs. It's about right. Great War, the War of 1939, 45, Sir Geoffrey Congreve DSO, Benjamin Bromley, Arthur H. Evans. There go the bells. Four o'clock. Say the bells, and the bells are right. It is 4 o'clock. At the end of the aisle we have the organ, which then blocks off what would have been a chapel. There you can see the blocked north doorway, and then this area at the back is created about 1990 to have sort of what's known as the social area today. You can see that the pulpit is simple 19th century, so there's not a lot of money being put into the building here. We haven't got one of these situation where there's an awful lot of money. You've got a simple wooden pulpit, which is nice. We don't like stone pulpits. I don't like stone pulpits. The font, you can see there's a little one there, and there's the tower arch. So must have, well, that tower arch obviously is medieval. Was there an earlier one? Here we are in the chancel. You can see here's the original priest's door when it was Norman, and there's a Norman window surviving here, which is always nice. So there we are. That's what all the windows would be like originally, these Norman windows. Here we have a memory of General Sir Walter Norris Congreve, VC, KCB, MVO of Congreve and Chartley in this county, Aide-de-camp General to H.M. the King, Colonel Commandant of the Rifle Brigade, Governor and Commander-in-Chief of Malta, 1924 to 1927, born November the 20th, 1862, died February 28th, 1997, buried at sea to the southward of Malta. And here we have a good look west. You can see there, that's a tower opening, which was originally outside. It's now inside because the roof line's been raised. Here we have William Latouche Congreve, killed at the Battle of the Somme. A VC, Military Cross, Legion d'Honneur, Brevet Major, fell in the Battle of the Somme. And up there, there's a stand where there would originally have been a funerary helm. That's been taken down now. And we have here this wonderful memorial. Now, this is one of these memorials. Is incredibly beautifully carved. You see here these two young men in their armour chatting away, and then these two in their armour. They're a bit battered. The supporters here. This is the Devereux tomb. Sir Walter Devereux, who distinguished himself in the French wars, and he is made a Knight of the Garter. It's notable here that the figures are doing things. They're not just standing there. Normally these figures would just be standing there. Yes, here we have, you can see now, we're assuming if these are the children, what they normally are, that here's one of the sons talking to his sister, and there's two of the other sisters looking on. Make of that pose what you will. He has his lion at his feet, and here again you can see you've got the two wives. Just post this up on the tripod so try and get a view over the top. Very, very fine, very beautifully carved. The piano there. They want to have services with just the piano, and I'll try and get Mr. Walter Devereux's face here. Yes, there we go. You see with his beard. So this is. Yes, he dies 1537. And he looks very 1537. And there again we have one of the sons talking with his sister, who seems to be much more interested in talking with her sisters. So it is sometimes, isn't it? The altar, we've got a version of Leonardo's Last Supper as the altarpiece, and then the east window, the Ascension. And then we have a memorial here to William Hyde's M.A., 40 years vicar of this parish of Gayton, entered into his rest January the 18th, 1884, aged 69 years, and the reredos is erected by his widow. So, version of Leonardo's Last Supper, all sitting on the same side, as, of course, is just an artistic thing. So that's the chancel. The big thing, of course, is that tomb, and those figures at the bottom are just spectacular because they're in action. They're alive, as it were. They're not just standing there as if on parade. Font here is very, very small and simple. This tablet is erected by the inhabitants of Stowe and neighbourhood to the glory of God in loving memory of Trooper John Deville of the 6th Company Imperial Yeomanry, who volunteered for the sake of his Queen and country during the South African War, and who, after having pluckily fought several engagements with the Boers, succumbed at Standerton to the disease of enteric fever, deeply lamented by his sorrowing family and by all who knew him, on the 17th of February 1901, his 22nd year. So, and it's the South African War that is the first war that you get memorials like that for, and that then leads eventually to these memorials here. Well, that's the inside here at Stowe-by-Chartley. Let's go around and have a look at the outside now. And so here we are outside at Stowe-by-Chartley. You can see here you've got this nice little tower here, very little actually, and this is because you've got this very, very tall then middle bit, the nave, and then you've got the chancel. The chancel has kind of doubled in length in the 14th century, so that's your basic outline. We'll have a closer look now at the outside. It's a really interesting thing with Stowe is how small the tower is, and really it's because of how tall the nave is in comparison, and maybe the nave is tall and the tower is small, but the tower, the lower part appears to be Norman as well. It's obviously been altered in the upper section, and as I say, the entrance is now through the tower, although you can see here there's the outline of a porch above that rather nice Norman west door. And there you can see the churchyard cross, which is a very, very common thing, as we said. That's to do with, in the Middle Ages, people didn't have individual gravestones. There is a communal cross. See there, interesting roof lines. And you see that tall Norman window in the chancel. And then where that buttress is, effectively, you have the doubling in size in the 14th century, and the stonework's slightly different. Obviously it's all local stone because that's what you did in those days. If you had local stone, you used it, and quite right too. Around the overgrown Christmas tree, and there we have the chancel. Very big chancel, about as long as the nave, because it's not as broad. Chancel is earthenware tiles, the nave is slate. Then you've got your weathercock, as it's known. It's because it's in the form of a cockerel. It's a very, very nice example here of a medieval church, a fairly large village church. I suppose actually kind of what we say average village church, as opposed to your more elaborate buildings, and long, of course, although the aisle means that the nave is or the nave area is broadened. And round the east end, and then we have see there, you've got the vestry at the east end of that, and the aisle, and then there's the aisle, blocked window where the vestry's been added, because of course the vestry is. Yes, and again you've got that very obvious rib buttress where the original Norman chancel rather ended, and again medieval work on the outside. And actually that north doorway is Norman, but of course that doesn't mean there was originally an aisle, because it may be that it was taken down and then put up again when the aisle was built. Of course, it may be that there always was an aisle, because we can't say there wasn't one, because internal evidence is inconclusive, and the stonework again, it could be Norman, could be a bit later, but one suspects 14th century. And so yes, there we are. We'll just go round to the east end, or the west end rather, and have a look at the tower. Yes, it's quite a nice, relatively plain, obviously, north doorway, and then that's been blocked up, but definitely Norman, and original 12th century, because as I say, this is originally it's a 12th century church that she's then extended and altered, as of course all good medieval churches are. But no, that we've got a pointy door at the bottom, and yes, the Norman original. No, there wasn't wasn't an aisle. You can see again you've got that telltale buttress thing there. So that is Stowe-by-Chartley, St John the Baptist. And so there you have it, St John the Baptist, Stowe-by-Chartley. It's a lovely building. I mean, very medieval, nice Norman, and again very rural. It's in the middle of the village here, opposite the village pub, as many of these churches are, and it's just to do with, of course, being in the middle of the village. Well, thank you for watching, and may God bless you and keep you until the next time.